everyone. Welcome to Daddy Likes Talking Golden Tea. I am honored to have my first guest with us, and a man that probably needs no introduction to the Golden Tea community, Paul Taylor. How you doing, buddy?
I'm just divine. Thanks for asking. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for
Did I
coming on.
did I drag you out of bed early doing this at noon Eastern?
No, my it all for me. My sleep schedule depends on the month
I've already
because
flipped I've already flipped the interview on you.
I know
You're
I
gonna
love
answer
it.
all the
I love
questions.
it. I love it. Just if you have any questions about me, just refer to the previous episode.
So I want to refer to the previous episode.
Yes.
There's a couple of things I got out of there. There's one, you couldn't find the right phrase for an icebreaker. And
Yes.
then when you did find it, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I was watching, I was like, he's trying to think of icebreaker. I think you said ice 2 minutes before you actually said icebreaker. Another phrase for being comfortable talking to somebody or a means of introduction would be an inroad. So if you got an icebreaker or an inroad, I think you were looking for ice road trucker.
This is a man who's smart and well read. I was gonna ask you if you read a lot. I seriously was. That was one of my highlight points. Do you read a lot?
Um, just online stuff now. I haven't really read a lot of books unless I'm on an airplane.
Yeah.
I'll grab a book or download one on the Kindle app.
Now, without having any concrete proof at all, it has always been my just kind of guess from the Golden Tea community that many of the top players, if I had to bet, if you gave them an IQ test, that they would have above average IQs. I think it seems to go hand in hand with this game for some reason.
IQ tests are a popular thing. If there was an obsession test, I'm sure they all have obsessive personalities and score really high on that one.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's see. Tell the people at home where you're from.
Oh, I'm from North Cac, same as you.
Yeah.
Uh,
What city?
Winston-Salem originally.
Oh yeah.
Originally Winston-Salem, but I didn't live there
I didn't know
long.
that.
Yeah, I left North Carolina, lived in Florida for a couple of years, a couple early formative years. Ended back up in North Carolina about the age of 15. Lived in Charlotte,
Oh,
Queen
no
City.
shit.
Yeah,
I
lived
didn't know that.
Pineville, Matthews,
Oh God, that's my neck of the woods.
Carmel Road Extension.
Oh my God, dude. The house I grew up in where my mom was on Alexander. You know Alexander Road?
Yeah, for
Where
sure. I
Ray,
think my school bus
where
went by there.
yeah, where Ray Road crosses Providence. Yeah, I was just there last week. Yeah, small world. And then how'd you
Yeah,
end up in Wilmington?
I ended up here.
Oh yeah. I jumped ahead.
I mean, it was family stuff. Dad passed when I was 8, and I ended up living with his sister, my aunt. There was 3 of us. It's a huge responsibility for her to take on, and she got fed up. So by the time I was 15, she shipped the 3 of us off to live with her brother, my Uncle Bill, and he lived here in Wilmington. So that's how I ended up here, just
Very cool.
getting
And
traded around.
now, I think I know the answer to this next question. Kind of like I jumped ahead with the Wilmington thing, but Golden Tea is not your main source of income. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got a full-time job,
And
which I waited until I was 39 to get my first full-time job.
so what? You just had a bunch of part-time jobs on the side?
Well, I mean, I worked like full-time hours at like a restaurant and stuff. But I mean,
Gotcha.
I didn't even have like one gig. I would wait tables or manage the restaurant or whatever.
Yeah. And so, what do you do now?
It's kind of a customer support tech job for a company that makes online and mobile banking applications.
Oh, so that sounds like the type of thing you get to work from home.
I do get to work from home.
Very nice.
Yeah, since exactly 1 week before WHO issued the guidance, we did a test run at the office. We're going to work from home for a week, and then that very next week, WHO was like, "Stay home." And,
Yeah.
I've made a couple of visits to the office when they want asses in seats if there's a potential client visiting the campus. And I'm always happy to go because the campus that they work at in Wilmington, I don't know if anybody from Wilmington's going to watch this, but the campus is the Live Oak campus out there, and it's just freaking gorgeous. I don't know how a potential client could visit and then end up saying no. You just like want to be a part of it if you're ever out there. Anyway,
Awesome.
not at all Golden Tea related. Although I did put my Golden Tee track record on my resume.
Did you really?
Hundred
Awesome.
percent, 100%. The only other thing was Hieronymus. I had like, oh, I've worked at this restaurant for 20 years. I'd like, I got to put something else on here. So I was like, oh yeah, also I played Golden Tee. Here's my highest finishes at different tournaments.
Were they like, what the? I mean, did they laugh at it, or were they like, what are you talking about?
They
Or were they like,
loved
oh, I
it.
know that game. Yeah.
They loved it. The guy that hired me talks about it still. He says his family's sick of hearing about it.
One of that reminds me of one of my best friends. He's an accountant, but he used to be a professional snowboarder. Not like freestyle and half pipe, but downhill, like downhill slalom and stuff. And
Okay.
and back in the 90s or something like that. Um, he for 3 years he did that, traveled around the world. He podiumed on ESPN a couple times, and but so now to this day, like he goes, well, yeah, whenever I go into the job to interview, for an accountant, he's like, all I have to do is mention that I was a professional snowboarder, and like I'm instantly hired. They're like, you're the coolest person we have ever met. There's no one like
Yeah.
this in our office. Please join us.
I get that a little bit now. I mean, where I work, we have a great company culture, so it's not like everybody's just bored out of their skulls, like ready for anything like that, you know. But like I said, it's my first full time job, so I had no real idea about office culture, corporate work, or anything
Or
like that.
HR.
You know, they make sure I get my hours right.
Yeah, you're not. You don't strike me as the type to offend anyone.
Hmm. Thank you.
All right, let's see. You went by the screen name of Putz for a long time. Was that strictly a Golden Tee nickname, or is that something outside of Golden Tee?
I think I came up with it for Golden Tee, although I watched a lot of Mel Brooks movies and stuff, and I really appreciate the self-deprecating humor and Yiddish that he throws in there. I don't know. So there was just it started out as a little bit of a wordplay. Obviously, putts sounds like something you can do in a golf game.
Yes.
And originally, my name was MRS. Putz, so Mrs. Putz.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. Huh.
It wasn't that for very long, but it probably could still be now.
And how did you make the switch to the house? I think that you had something else in there too, but you've been
I
sticking
played
with
this
the house recently.
homemaker
Oh, yeah,
for a number of
homemaker.
years.
Yeah.
I've been like going back and forth in my mind if I do want to change my name before Worlds, because being a little stitious, not superstitious, I do feel like it's kind of a jinx, but homemaker is definitely a better name
Yeah.
in my
So,
opinion.
what's the significance of the house?
I was at a New Year's party at a friend's place, and this lady and her husband that owned the house, they were getting ready to take a trip to Aruba or someplace, and they were staying at a casino resort. But she's pretty not very proficient gambling games and stuff like that. So I have this large uh, blanket. I can't remember the name, a Grand Casino or something. I can't remember. I found it at like a thrift shop or something. Big old blanket. Its pattern is half of a craps table.
Ah,
So I'll lay this thing out and I'll deal craps to have fun with people and teach them the game. Her husband was not having it. He was like, no, we can't just do this for fun. How much are we playing for? And I said, well,
smart man.
the house has a big edge here. So I was thinking if everybody threw in X number of dollars for house money and then played against their own money, everybody would have an equal share of the house. But this was a very complicated idea.
So
Like I
this
said,
was a
they're
way
not
of divvying up the rake to all the players.
right. I wanted to
Yeah,
make it fair and friendly,
and
but
also not
nobody.
illegal, sort of, so
Uh,
to speak.
yeah, it's at somebody's house. I don't think it's all that illegal,
Yeah.
but it was a complicated idea to explain to them. It meant that people would have to buy in twice just to get started, which was discouraging. So they asked me to play as the house, the bank, whatever. And so I did. I set the max bet at like $2 because I was like, I've played craps. I know what can happen, on a run. Anyway, I ended up felting everybody. I don't think it's called felting in craps, but this guy, the guy that insisted that I be the house, bought in like 4 times, lost all every time. And halfway through the session, he quit calling me by my name, and he just started calling me the house. I need the
Awesome.
house back over here. Break time's over. Let's get these dice going. So I just changed it to the house, and another friend of mine hated that name. He said it was cocky or something like that.
No,
And of
no.
course, just because he didn't like it, I haven't changed it. It was going to be
Oh,
the house for like a month.
yeah.
But like he bitched about it so much, I'm like, all right, maybe you reverse psychology me, or it's the house now.
um, let's see. It says on my screen, it says app is not focused underneath you. I don't know what that means.
I think this camera on this MacBook isn't super lovely. It's just
Okay.
kind
I
of
mean,
grainy.
I can still see you. It's not a big deal. It's
I mean,
just
you're the star,
it
so
says
as long as you're
learn
crisp
about
and clear.
let's see. Learn about keep tab focused. You may be notified that you or another participant does not have the app focused during recording. And first, that's too much shit. And that little message went away, so I think it might have cleared up.
I don't know. I clicked on it and it went away.
Oh, you had the same little message.
Yeah, at the top of my
Yeah.
screen.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
How do I make these?
like I said,
bigger?
this camera is not super lovely on this MacBook, but I don't like stream a lot, so this
Yeah,
is what I
yeah.
got.
um, okay, let's see. Blah blah blah. Obviously, this part will be edited out. You maybe make the B-roll. No, it's not interesting enough for that.
Make the
Okay.
sloppy seconds.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So one of the main things I'm interested in people is how did you get into Golden Tee? What was your first introduction?
All right, so if you've been paying attention, then you know I've worked at this Hieronymus seafood restaurant for decades. So I was there. I was working in the dish pit. There was an old guy who was the fry cook back there, who went by Hoon Daddy, and he was a little bit obsessed with the game, but just on the casual level. You know, we weren't swiping in or playing tournaments. So it would be me, Hoon Daddy, and then the owner of the restaurant, uh, who was a very young first-time business owner who would stick around until everything was over. And for my folks out there that do service industry work, you know it's kind of hard to wind down after a
Yeah, oh
busy
yeah,
night in the restaurant.
of course.
So
Yeah.
sometimes we would play till 2 or 4 in the morning, and that's how it started. Just a vendor had it in there, and then the owner's wife, also the owner, she was kind of back and forth on it. She wanted that space for tables, or she wanted it for something else. So the Golden Tee would like come and go from the restaurant periodically, depending on her moods. But yeah, it was just the three of us, really, a little obsessive about it. Every once in a
Were
while, there'd be an NBA Jam next to it.
do were any of those players better than you, or were you the best?
Oh, we were definitely neck and neck. I mean, it was a coin toss every time. We'd all just started. Hoon Daddy was probably a little bit better to start, but the owner of the restaurant here, Skip, and myself, we're both, you know, it's no high net or hyper competitive
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
so we couldn't let that fly.
Well, I'd
That's
say
about it.
for me personally, looking back on it, one of the biggest hindrances for my 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 success climb or improving climb was the fact that I didn't have anyone better than me to play around for years, and
Yeah.
it is so helpful. Um, when when I went to the EA Sports uh, World Championships, I never heard about or seen anyone hit a hammer shot before. I didn't know what it was, and so when I was playing, like just to qualify for it, and I would see these guys were getting, like 410 yards holes and get an eagle, and I was like, how are they doing this? Like, I don't understand. Like, what am I missing? And then I walk in because the governor was set so high on that thing. And I was, I remember walking in the first day and just hearing doom, 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 and just seeing all these, guys with their arms back up here. I was like, holy shit.
What a windup.
Yeah. And I was talking to Dean, like I never can't say his last name right, but he was telling me back in the day about when the hammer shot first came around, and he was telling me about the guy who first, and I can't remember who it is, but the first guy that realized that you could do this and get all this
Was
extra
it
distance.
Rusty something or other? Rusty
Yes, I believe it
Hoppenfeld?
was. Yeah, yeah.
So all that
Um,
was before my time, really. I didn't give a date to this, but that first game of Golden Tee I swiped into was in the new millennium. It was the year 2000. But it wasn't until 2008 or 2009 that I was aware that there was like a Golden Tee community at large, and got introduced to Underdog Sports and
yeah, yeah. Underdog. That was
that good time.
yeah. It had a. I mean, the GT fan board is awesome, but the Underdog had a different feel to it. I guess because a lot of people posted other stuff besides Golden Tee related. Um, it got a
That, and
little it got
it
a little out
wasn't
of hand.
it wasn't on a much larger platform. There were other forums there, but like it kind of felt like it was something that belonged to us, as opposed to
Yes.
being on Facebook where you feel like it belongs to Facebook,
Yeah.
kind
Yeah. Meta.
of. I guess so. I
um,
haven't learned all the uses of that word yet. Oh, Meta as the rebranding of Facebook. Okay.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Um, what? Let's see. Um, oh, so okay. What's your favorite thing about Golden Tee? Because different people have different answers. Like some, it's the competitive part. Some, it's solving the puzzle. Some, it's the money. Some, it's obviously just the social aspect. The casual player, but getting out of the house and away from the family for a couple hours. What about you?
I don't know. I guess I've never really thought of it in that context. There's a big factor of just beating yourself and just improving, and there's these milestones. Like the 30 under is still a real thing. It seems easy after you've done it a few times, particularly with the new courses and stuff. But if you're a new player, newer, it's a really big mental hurdle,
It's
and
huge.
like
I remember
almost
my first
almost
one.
yeah, almost every accomplishment in Golden Tee is breaking through a wall. It's breaking or jumping a mental hurdle or whatever it is. It kind of feels like you're leveling up,
Yeah,
even if
absolutely.
it's a one-off and like you go right back to sucking afterwards. You still have that experience, like, oh, I'm level 12 now or whatever it is. Uh, so that was definitely the initial draw of the game. Um, Also beating those other two fucks I told you about. But and then when I decided I wanted to try to make money doing it, that kind of changes things. I still had that need to improve, that mental desire to break through whatever walls I imagined, or if they were real or not, I don't know. Most of it's mental, when you're trying to get to higher levels. Anyway, then I would just pick people that I knew from tournaments and try to beat them on the leaderboards, and that kind of made me feel like I was playing with them. So I guess, yeah, my favorite thing is the camaraderie. I didn't lead into that very well at all, but now that I say it, like I would
This is
watch
like a
those
this is
leaderboards.
like a therapy session. I don't.
Like I said,
You didn't know what
I
you were
don't
getting
really,
into.
I don't think in terms of favorites and best aspect or anything like that. But yeah, now that I say it, like I would watch the leaderboards while I played and try to imagine that I was playing with that person, and so, or those people that I saw on the leaderboards. So I think it's that, playing with people and the camaraderie and the competition. Like those are the things that drive me now. I guess
Yeah,
there was a little bit of
like
a journey, long
yeah.
walk there.
Okay, what about when you go out to play? Um, you pick a night and you go out. Um, are you is your enjoyment on winning money, or is your enjoyment on just is it the long journey at the end, or is it the individual little endorphin rushes from a great hole out? If that makes sense.
Yeah, those are all good things.
I like
At
all
the
those
end,
things.
at the end of the night, I look back on the money. It's not really forefront in my mind while I'm playing. And that's like a something I've probably repeated a few too many times, but like I think Luna's said it also, and a few other people will stand by it. You know, the game being based on golf and being stroke after stroke, step after step, you can't literally play a whole round at once, right? Can't hit your 42 strokes or whatever it is all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So every shot is its own thing. And that's how I see the game. And so I can't, the money is also like an end game aspect. So it's not in my mind while I'm playing. While I'm playing, I'm looking at the next shot or two shots ahead if I have to set myself up on a par five or non drivable
Sure.
par four.
Yeah,
Does that
yeah.
answer your question?
It
Or I
does.
mean,
It does. It does. It now when you go out and play, are you currently? Because it seems like I don't see your name on the leaderboard as much as I see used to. Is that because you play a lot of dailies?
yeah, I don't play a lot of 18 hole rounds.
I watched you for a while in St. Louis play some dailies, and I was like, it's amazing. You know, I don't know. I was there for like 20 minutes, and you asked some of the questions, and um, it was amazing. I mean, I grasped the concept. I've just never watched it. Never really watched someone who's proficient at it and what their technique is. And that one thing I really learned about when you move the tee over, and I was like, how do you know how many like are you moving over clicks? You're like, no, you use a little graphic in the and I was like,
I showed you my pixels.
how did I never think of that before? Like
Yeah,
using the edge of the box to the edge of the tee or whatever.
don't give
Yeah.
away all my secrets.
No, I mentioned that to people who don't even play dailies, and they're like, as I was saying that, they're like, they beat me to the punch. They're like, yeah, I mean, look, it just touches the thing right there. I was like, okay,
Oh, thanks, Mr. Smarty Pants.
yeah, yeah. um,
I mean, it's a different way of looking at the game. There's obviously with the fulls and things like that, it's a different style of play. And if you don't know it, I imagine it looks pretty bizarre watching
for
somebody
sure.
bust out a bunch of fulls.
That actually leads me into my next question I had on my sheet here. Um, you are probably widely considered the most, if not one of the most creative players in the game, which makes uh, at a tournament, like during Worlds, for example, and if you're playing in the A group and I'm playing in the B group, um, I'm gonna go find where you're playing just because it's more interesting to watch than someone who just plays straightforward all the time. Um, and so when you play all these fulls, and I understand during daily the concept of that, but during match play, when you play fulls on shots where other people wouldn't, or I imagine that you're either doing it because you think it's increasing your chances, or that you know that the other person isn't going to follow what you're doing, and so, um, uh, or you're just showing off. No, I'm just teasing. You don't seem like a
Oh
show
yeah,
off type of guy.
for sure. Occasionally, I'm showing off. Yeah.
That is
Especially if it's like a straight shot, but I know like it's a good distance for a full or something like that. And it's fun to watch, you know.
yeah, it is. Uh,
Um, I don't ever. I would say I wouldn't say I've never done it, but I would say I rarely have ever done it to try to disguise my shot. Uh, Maybe for so, I mean that's just a bad strategy. So for somebody that doesn't know how to pull a full, maybe you're hiding an approach. But for anybody that knows how to use fulls, they can make it. Especially since everybody plays the same equipment now, they can make a
yeah.
really easy adjustment off your shot. So like,
Yes.
it would be a really bad strategy to try to hide my shot using a full.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a
That
very.
shit's. I would think for some people that's just clear as day. I know CJ when we played like some team games, you know, some machine bets. We ended up together. He would adjust off my fulls beautifully and point her hole out a couple of times in the
Yeah.
one round that we played together. So yeah, definitely not for that reason. I've played so many dailies, it just bled into my game, and it's part of how I play now. Uh,
um.
the speed of a shot changes the line, depending on the wind. If you hit it harder and it's in the air longer, maybe the wind brings it back more, stuff like that. For fulls, generally are just more consistent. Even for some setups, especially if there's some uh, uphill, if you're hitting an uphill green, those are always the best. But sometimes major variations in how you hit the shot can have the same outcome with fulls. I call them multi-speeds or variable shots, where typically you'll set yourself up on a full, you'll set up for like a 90 speed or 100 speed thumbs, something like that. Sometimes they set up multi-speed where you can hit anywhere from 94 miles an hour up to 99 miles per hour, which is a huge difference. It'll still go in because certain conditions are just that much more consistent than a blind thumb shot or whatever.
Sure. Now, when you play fulls during a live round, like during match play and power events, how much of it are you crunching numbers and how much is feel just because you played them so much?
So this is probably going to be at least a little disappointing. One of the reasons I'm so comfortable playing fulls live is because of stouts. With half the wind, the shots are, like I said just moments ago, less variable in general. So it's the memory and the distance and maybe a small adjustment for wind and elevation. It's mostly memory, I would say. I have I keep markers in my head for basically like flat, where how far the ball's going to go. Does it come back to center? Does it go past coming back to center at that distance? Things like that.
Sure. Yeah. Very cool. One of my favorite things to tell people is that haven't even met you. And I was like, oh, this guy Paul. I was like, he's this great player, and he's incredibly funny. And I was like, I think sometimes he's so clever that he's saying funny things to people, and they're not getting it. Like they're not even understand that he's making a joke in his head, and
I think that means I'm actually not funny. You put those things together, yeah.
Well, we were in Nashville, and we were in Nashville, and I was watching you play. It wasn't during the tournament. It was like you were playing a 1 through 5 or something, and I just wandered up and I was watching you play, and you hit some good shot, and I go, hey, what balls do you use? And you said, just straight deadpan. You go, well, on this course I play stouts, and I go, oh, and I go, what about the other courses? And you just looked at me again, straight face. You said, on the other courses, I play stouts as well. Just brilliant.
Good delivery.
And then I actually wore this shirt intentionally because I wanted to ask you. When I first got this shirt, it was heavy in my rotation because I liked it, and I was wearing it at a tournament. And you looked at me and you said, you go, cool shirt. And I was like, thanks. And like 4 months later, I took it out of the closet, and I'm like, and I'm not to put it on. And I remembered it. I'm like, that motherfucker.
Oh, that's too much.
I was like, oh man, that is brilliant. Oh, speaking of design, I love that T-shirt that you wear that's got all the little pixels on it and stuff. Where did you get that bad boy?
I made that myself.
Come on.
So
seriously?
When I took that full-time job, I was working night shift, and night shift was 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. 12-hour shifts, mostly monitoring network connections. If that means anything to you.
A little bit.
What it means to me is a lot of downtime. So I have no graphic design skills, but I watched this music video by a band called Dathi Ogagnamathed.
I love their Christmas album.
You know Dathi?
No. I don't think they have a Christmas album.
He definitely released a Christmas song. He did. He had a song called "Think About Things." This is the one where I found them, and in the video, they've all got these green or teal sweatshirts, and their faces are pixelated and embroidered on there. And there's like one of the members of the band has like blue hair. They got glasses on some of them, so they have really cool features. And I was like, damn, I really want that. I want to wear my own face on my shirt. That's fucking hilarious. So yeah, I took forever to make that picture.
I wouldn't even know where to start.
I cheated. Well, I mean, I came up with a plan. I took a selfie. I tried to manage the lighting to where the features I knew I wanted to stand out were well lit, and other things like the hats didn't really matter. And then I found an app that's like a pixelator. So the app is really for you to pixelate people's faces out of your picture. Like getting my ex is going to be
sure. Yeah.
So I ran the selfie through the pixelator, and then I literally did everything else in Microsoft Paint, like the most basic graphics design you can have. But the first shirt, I put little phrases to me that are hilarious. For other people, they're hit or miss. Like you said, you think maybe I'm too clever. I'm just not funny. But the first one I just called it "Think About Things" because it was, to be honest, that's where I got the idea from that song. And then I did "As Seen on T," which just cracks me up to no end. Everybody thinks it's a typo. They just use the letter T because it's on a T-shirt. I'm as seen on the T-shirt. Also, I play Golden Tee, so it's okay. I forgive you if that's what you thought it meant. And then I came up with the one that I just thought was the funniest thing in life, which is the shirt that says "You wear me out." Because just like I did to you, people will walk up to you and read your T-shirt to you. It's something that people do.
Yes.
So, I bought it. I at least bought this shirt. It was gifted me. I know what I'm wearing. Why are you reading my shirt at me? So people will walk up to me and they'll say, "You wear me out," and I get to respond like, "Actually, I wear myself out because I'm on the shirt."
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go, buddy.
Oh yeah, I love it. What does it say right there? Oh, you wear me out. Oh.
Unfortunately, so they each had a matching hat. These are real hats that I owned.
That is.
I let somebody wear this shirt and that hat out downtown one night, and they lost my fucking hat.
No.
And it's a weird hat.
You don't hang out with that person anymore, I assume. I mean, that's got to be a deal breaker.
I do, and I ride that. I'm like, remember that time? So again, I'm going to take a little bit of your control away as the interviewer.
Yep.
But I brought some things. I didn't know if you might remember these little blue boxes.
Oh, baby. Daddy, like. Show the folks at home what you got.
All right, so here's 2012.
Yeah, baby.
I don't know if it's the best way to read it. The shirt makes a pretty good background.
Read it out loud if you can.
Third place, Elite Bracket, 4th Annual Denver Open Golden Tee Tournament 2012.
Boom.
And this was a repeat for Old Putz. Third place, Elite Bracket, 3rd Annual Denver Open Golden Tee Tournament 2011. So this, I guess, would have been first year on the tour, right? 2011. That's when this tour started.
That's correct. That's correct. Yep.
So this one got a little ding.
So that was at Jackson's. Yeah.
This they definitely stopped me, searched my carry-on with this brick sitting in there.
Hold that thought. The best thing about supplying trophies for your own tournament is winning them. So I've got repeats of my own. No, not repeats. Gap in between. You notice how mine is much smaller than yours?
You've probably just have bigger hands.
No, it's because I won first place in the handicap tournament.
First place!
First place! Yeah. All those motherfuckers had to give me strokes. That
was a fun year.
2011 and 2013, the last one.
Also first?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, handicap only got trophies for first.
Fair enough. So that's when we played some table tennis out back,
That
right?
was on the thing for the people at home. Talk about competitiveness. For the people who probably aren't aware, which is probably everyone, this man on that screen can play some fucking table tennis, aka
Used to
ping
could.
pong, man. Because I used to play a lot, and the Denver Open first was at a place called Table Stakes, and then it changed to Mile 9. But anyway, they had two ping pong tables there at the bar where I would play Golden Tee all the time. And I grew up playing ping pong, not religiously. It wasn't like on a junior team or anything, but I played a lot there. And there weren't many people who could beat me. And I played, I mean, there's a big competitive place here, like a table tennis club. And I've gone to that a couple times back then. And so on Underdog, you're like, oh, yeah, we'll play some when I get in. And you got in pretty early, like the couple nights before the tournament started or something. He showed up, and I was like, all right, it's like me playing him in Gold Tee. Actually, no, there was a bigger gap than that. It was he beat the shit out of me, and I played good. Don't get me wrong, I played good. He was on a different level. It
That's
was
fun.
very,
I saw
very
somebody
impressive.
recently on Facebook, Golden Tee fan, talking about getting tendonitis from playing too much Golden Tee, and I was playing boatloads of ping pong and boatloads of Golden Tee all at the same time, and I basically just wrecked my rotator cuff, and so I
Oh,
gave up ping pong, gave it up. I had a really good backhand, and it got to where every time I tried to make this motion to do that, it was just singing in pain.
ugh, ugh.
So I had to give it up. But man, it was a good time.
Yeah, yeah. Where did you used to play? I mean, did you play at a club or something? I mean, how did you get as good?
I got a wild hair up my ass, and then I decided I wanted to start playing ping pong for the first time in my life. So I built a table and put it on the patio out back of the restaurant where I worked,
You shitting
and
me?
played every night after work.
Good lord! And so
The
you didn't. What? But I mean, were you playing against other really good players, or you were just self-taught? And
Everybody was better than me. I'd literally never played before.
no, I mean when you got good, like were you? Did you
Oh, I
see?
found a ping pong club to go to. Yeah,
Oh
where
yeah,
I very rarely won against any of those guys there.
yeah,
One of the players played a lot of league play, and he had a pretty good rating. I want to say he was a 23 or 2400. I can't remember what the cutoffs were. I think he briefly crossed 2800 rating, which was really high for semi-casual player.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
I beat I beat that guy one time, uh, and what had happened was there was, a spread of age ranges in this place. This guy was 67 years old, came in, he played with his paddle that he just bought, just tricked it out with all these expensive rubbers and everything. And he said, "Here, do you want to try this?" And I tried it, and I fucking cleaned house. I beat players I'd never beat before,
no shit.
including this 2800 player. I mean, to put that in perspective, if he was a 28, I was maybe a 19 to 2100, and he's a 2800. So I beat this guy, and then I
Put
to
it
go.
for the people at home. Put it in
It's an
Gold Tee
ELO.
handicap, like
It's the
Gold
same
Tee
as
handicap
okay.
distance.
Well, if you look at the Golden Tee ELO, you'll see the elite players are 3300 to 3400 if they're not DNFing and stuff like that. So if that's this guy, if he's a 3400, then I'm probably a 2800, which is just average, really.
So like you're talking about like a plus 30 and a plus 27.
Oh no, it was way worse than that.
Oh really?
Yeah, like I said, I only beat him one time ever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But that guy gave me his paddle. He said, "Nah, it's too fast for me. I can't use it. Why don't you take it?" And it was like $140 paddle. I was
Yeah.
floored. I was like, "Oh my god!"
It's amazing the difference. I got into it, and I was buying different paddles and, just go online and pick different speeds of rubber and spin and stuff. And and then you get it and you hit it, and the difference is just night and
Oh,
day.
it's disgusting. It's so stupid.
It's almost like playing with stouts.
Yeah, it's about like that.
Have you ever played with one of those pips out things where it reverses the spin. I
The,
can't
the
even
long
grasp.
pips.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I
No,
can't even grasp how that works physics.
no, that always seemed like cheating to me. Kind of a shitty thing to do. I do often think about this in Gold Tee tournaments, though. In table tennis and the professional matches stuff, you have to give your opponent an opportunity to inspect your racket.
No
You ever
shit.
notice this? Yeah.
No,
So if you ever watch it on TV or anything, you'll often see the players go to each other and they'll hold each other's paddle.
what are they looking for? Like, what's illegal?
Well, just like you were talking about, not looking for anything illegal, but like if they're
Mm,
playing with long pips
I
or if they have
got
a
you.
spinning, if
Yes.
the red side spinnier, because it has to be one side red, one side black. So they want to
So
know which
from the
side.
start, they know what kind of, or they can try to guess, make an educated guess on what kind of equipment they're facing.
Yes, exactly. So that's like in the rules. And I kind of feel like Golden Tee needs something like that with the Build-A-Bag. You can disguise your equipment there.
How?
Maybe now on the PGA it says the name of the ball, but before it just said Build-A-Bag 1. You wouldn't know what ball somebody was using.
Hmm.
I always felt you should. It should just have been the rules that you could ask, and somebody would have to tell you what balls they were using.
Have you ever experienced where you asked someone and they said, "I'm not telling you," or they lied? I can't imagine that either of those happening. If it
They've
has
refused.
happened, you don't have to mention a name. I won't
They've
ask that.
refused. They've refused to answer before. Yeah.
Are you shitting me? Wow, that's some cutthroat shit right there.
I mean,
I'm
if you
done.
know the equipment and they pull out a driver, you can make a pretty good guess based on that mark distance or whatever.
That's true.
But yeah, just a little thought. That's just one of those things that's always floated in the back of my mind, and ping pong brought it back around.
Yeah, man. There are people out there that will do anything to try to win. Even in Golden Tee, we have found over the years, not necessarily in live tournaments, but um, anyway, that's a whole different topic. We're not going to dive into. Let's see.
Appreciate that.
Okay, we got there. Okay, one of the things I have noticed about the very good players, the elite players, not just in this, but in a lot of sports, and pool also, is that hiding your emotions is the wrong word. It's not letting negative things affect you, and it's something I try to work on. Like when I make a mistake, I try to stay cool, calm, and collected, and even though internally I'm going,
So
"God, you idiot!"
this is
You seem
actually one
to
of
keep
my
a very level head.
this is actually one of my favorite things that I ever saw at a tournament. Was in Florida Open this year. I was watching the women's finals, the ladies finals, and I think there was a 2 or 3 stroke difference going into 18 of the final game. Uh, and the ladies, sorry,
It's Brittany and Jamie, right?
yeah, they hit their shots onto the green. I think Brittany had a fairly difficult putt, but nothing crazy. Difficult under pressure, But there was no pressure because, like I said, there was like a 3-stroke difference. And they both cleaned up their shots on 18. I mean, I still remember little Jamie. She would hit her shot, turn around, sip her beer, turn around, and then turn back around and wait to hit. So cool and collected the whole time. And they both were. And then Brittany putted in on 18, and basically the second that ball went in the cup, and mind you, the match was decided. Like I said, there was a big stroke differential. The second the ball went in the cup, they both let it all out at the same time. All the emotion that they'd been holding back. And they both started crying, and they embraced and everything. But I mean, that's a beautiful moment, and not to take away from that, but I was really impressed with how they legit just held that all back until she cleaned up that putt.
Yeah.
And so kind of like you're saying, it's not necessarily anything to do with the higher level players, even though those are 2 high level players. Yeah, you got to keep it in check. I was shocked that they were holding that much back because I wouldn't have guessed. But when the ball hit and they let it out, I was like, holy shit. The turmoil that they were hiding.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, like when you lose a match, you know, you just seem very cool, calm, and collected. You know, you shake your opponent's hand and you just walk away. And I mean, maybe inside you're killing kittens, but um,
I mean, for me, the second it's over, it's over. It's history at that point. I mean, bitching and moaning and crying ain't gonna change anything. I've definitely had a few moments where I was upset,
the
more upset than normal to lose.
this is you probably know where I'm going with this, and this is going to be a painful moment to rethink about because it pained me to watch it. But that putt against Lance Harris uh,
Which putt was this?
on 17. Oh, yeah, you're joking. Yeah, you remember? Yeah, I don't remember this putt, and I must have rewatched. Like I was like, oh my god, oh, and and then when I got back from Worlds and I was watching the video of it, and I was like, I must have rewound it like 10 times uh, to see your reaction. And you never, I mean, by your reaction, you couldn't tell, you would have thought you made it. Like if you just started it like after the shot and it was just zoomed in on you and said, is this a guy who made a putt or missed it? You were like, I guess made it. I don't know.
So the only thing going through my head when that happened was, oh my God, my flight leaves in 2.5 hours. I think I was legit scared to win because I would have missed my flight if I had to keep playing. And so there was actually a little bit of relief in losing because that's where I was in my headspace. You know, it was probably 2 weeks later when I finally got that check deposited that I was like, son of a bitch. Should have. But I mean, you also never know. I don't. I think my approach shot onto 18 following that putt was pretty god awful. I overshot the green, had a kind of difficult breaking chip to save eagle, and if I was up the stroke, would I have blown it on that shot instead? I mean, you don't know.
Yeah. Um, I don't remember. Did Lance end up holing out? I don't remember how it ended in overtime.
Hole one of extra holes. Yeah, it's in the new Road to Worlds teaser, or not teaser, but full video that Andy put out last night, yesterday day.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Slacker.
Yeah, yeah.
Just waiting
Well,
for
it was
Gino's next podcast. That's the only content worth.
well, it was a great run, and um, I feel like that before Florida, that because you hadn't won a power events before Florida, had you?
Before Florida. Yeah, I won a couple of NIVs,
Oh, did you? I didn't know that. Okay.
or as you call them, PCCs, weights.
Yeah, PCCs. Yes. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah. um, now,
new international version.
and those were, and that was when it was power events because NIV started before
Yeah,
power
they were
events.
fairly recent in the 20 teens.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then I strike my. I was going to say you were kind of like the Phil Mickelson of video golf. You know, like
Well, I mean,
where you
I
just
like it
weren't
down
getting over
there.
that hump. But
I don't like going for $1,850 in a Calcutta. So I was always happy to take third or fourth.
oh, who had you in the Calcutta at Worlds? They must have really been not feeling good about that missed putt. Do you remember who had you?
Oh no, I don't recall. I think I had a full half of myself. I think I went for 850 or 950. It's kind of cheap.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I
Not
think
these days. Not
that was
this
the
world.
least I've gone for in a World's Calcutta. Oh, you're gonna got me curious now. Still got what, a day and a half till this thing closes. Have you looked at the Calcutta?
Uh, not. I think the last time was 2 nights ago.
It's only moved like $800 total. So
Oh, really?
since yesterday, yeah, see it's moved.
Tickner must
I
not
got
have
my
gotten in there yet. No, that's good. I
no
saw his bids on
ticker
there.
splash around. Ryan McCook 660. Still some good value out there. Daryl needs to cool his jets. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that was.
Oh, speaking of McCook, and the Worlds from last year, that that match he had, was that against Brandon Robinson? Um, that 31 when they shot 31s on Tropical. That was like the best live Golden Team match I've ever seen in my life. And Ryan
He had
needed. to
Ace
hole out
18,
eight.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. And and again, that was something I rewatched over and over again because that ball goes in the cup and Ryan turns around and again you say what just happened here and you're like no context or scenario, just a video of McCook, and you would say, I guess he just birdied hole one. I mean, he just turned around like a
Just
robot.
expected.
Yeah, just went and had his card out, like ready to swipe to start overtime. And it was like, what, dude? I would have like lost my mind. I'd have been running around the place going nuts.
It's probably a little bit of gamesmanship in there. Ryan excels at gamesmanship, so just to act like that's natural is intimidating
He
to a
is.
player.
He is.
I
Yeah.
think out of the top players, he, him, and maybe Brewer probably have the most reps on the PGA courses.
Oh
So
yeah, they're in every single one that
yeah,
I when I go in just to like practice them. They're always
I've
in there.
never I've never actually played any of the PGA courses.
Are you planning
Um,
on before the next week from now?
how long do we have?
I don't know. Let me check my calendar. I think it's a
I've
week. I think we'll be in the thick of it right now.
I have never played a PGA course 18 holes for prizes. Other than I went out with some people, we saw a PGA, and they're like, "Oh, Paul's great at this. Let's go." I'm like, oh, "I've never played on that machine," and it was like these just garbage foursomes. So I played like two
Oh,
rounds,
yeah.
maybe.
Wait,
I don't even know what courses.
maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you meant you haven't played the PGA courses. Are have you played a PGA machine, a cabinet?
I qualified
Oh, okay.
for Worlds on one, yeah. So I
Uh,
have played Scottsdale, but I've
th-
never, other than like playing like like two separate occasions, played like a foursome at a bar, and probably ended up DNFing after nine because foursomes take so long. And those guys weren't competitive. They were just like, let's do this while the wives chat.
yeah. Uh,
I've never played an 18 hole PGA course for prizes.
uh, I would say of the three that are going to be included, the three new ones. My personal favorite is Louisiana, just because. I mean, when I say it's fun, I'm putting it in comparison with the other two. But there's more chances to uh, drive a green, or more importantly, at least put it up close for a chip. Um, uh, like uh, like Sawgrass is incredibly boring to play on that
That's not
because
it.
there
That's
are
not in
none with
here.
those. Correct, yeah,
It's
that was one of the originals. So this one's
Louisiana, uh,
Potomac,
Potomac, Potomac,
Potomac, Potomac.
Potomac, and Scottsdale, right?
Yeah,
So I'm glad I qualified on Scottsdale. I guess at least I've seen that course.
you qualified on Scottsdale. There was a qualifier on Scottsdale. Like that was one of the courses, one of the weeks. I didn't know.
The
Obviously, I
first
didn't
week.
play.
That was
Oh,
the
it
first
was.
week. Yeah.
Ah.
Nobody was qualifying because top first place in the event paid $200. No, literally nobody was even trying to play.
No,
So I
the
was like,
first
all
week
right.
for Worlds, I thought that was Easter. I could have sworn that was Easter.
Oh no, no, you're right. You're sorry. I was totally off there. I went and played uh, the TPC course that other week because my buddy here in Wilmington was like, I don't know what's going on here. Can you come play with me? You're right. I got confused. I did
Okay, all right.
play it quite a few times though.
Yeah. Um, uh, so let's see. Oh, back to uh, keeping your emotions in check and stuff like that. When you won the Florida tournament, you seemed genuinely very excited. And so I wondered, because you're cool, calm, and collected, and I was wondering, like, is he putting on a show? Like, is he as excited as he looks like he is? You're like, kind of like doing a little thing when you would make a hole out. You're doing a little fist pumping a little more, and I'm like, is this like he's kind of that joke celebrate, like, yeah, or is he really like, fuck yes, this feels good?
Was I coming in my trousers? Is that the question?
Yes, yes.
I was not. The I mean, like I said, I did like a little, I call it a victory tour on Facebook. Whenever I posted after the tournament, I was like, "This is awesome. Thanks." There's no tournament without everybody else showing up. So it's
Sure.
absolutely a big thank you to everybody that played. But I didn't feel like I was the story of the weekend. I mean, I felt like the women's tournament was so much more exciting,
That
and Jamie winning purple.
yeah, it
That
was
like
incredible.
I thought that was more emotionally engaging than my
Come,
little
come on,
win.
I can edit this out. You can go ahead and say that she stole your thunder and it crushed your dreams.
Fuck no, I watched it. I enjoyed watching that shit. It was awesome.
It was. It really was.
Yeah,
It was.
this
Man, it was amazing.
Jamie turn around, sip the beer, get ready for the next shot.
Yeah. Oh, when she nut that on, uh, was it in the finals when on hole
13
13?
North.
Yeah, and she just nutted that 143. I was
Hmm.
like, how has she hit it that hard? Like, she's so
She was
she's
setting it
like
up,
she's
and
like
I was like, this is gonna be a disaster, and then she just fucking nutted it. Just like, all right, well, I'm an asshole now. Glad I didn't say it out loud.
Oh man, oh, it's great. um, all right. Well, okay. I think it's time because I've been chomping at the bit here
This is the
for
10 for 10.
10 for 10. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sort of.
Well,
So,
before we do anything else, you didn't talk about Denver much. I tried to bring it up with the
oh,
trophies,
sure. Yep.
and I don't
Let's do
want to
it.
do this without mentioning my favorite Denver players, my favorite Colorado players.
Please.
Going all the way back to 2011, that's the first time I ever got in an airplane in my life, was to fly to the Denver Open
I
2011.
remember you telling me that. Holy shit.
And so, like, the faces from that game are like, they're special to me. Big Bad Bob, Golf Al, who in my head I always call Golf AI because that lowercase L. Chef Nasty, Stretch, you guys mean a lot to me. You made the game enjoyable when I went out there, which is enough to encourage me to continue playing.
Well, I will speak for all of them and say that is awesome of you to say, and it's vice versa. It's one of the great things about this game. I tell all my friends, when I start to play the game, I go, but there's so many cool people in this community, that never would have met if it wasn't for this game.
The field runs deep when it
Yeah,
comes to cool folks in the community, for sure.
yeah. Thank you very much, man. It's awesome, and the feeling is mutual. Uh, let's see. Okay, so this next segment is called the Quick Shot Turbo Seat,
Mm-hmm.
and what
I'm
it
not good at
is.
things like this. I don't even play with a quick shot lock.
I don't think you know where this is going, my friend.
Let's go.
So
Get a sip of Red Bull.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off a list of 10 names, and you say the first word that comes to mind after the name. Now that can be an adjective, a noun. It can be like two words, just not like a sentence or a phrase. It can be descriptive. It can be uh, complimentary. It can be funny. It can be anything. Like for example,
I get one word,
one word.
up to two words.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Like if it's almost. Yeah. Yeah. You'll get. I'm going to give you an example. Like if someone were to say to me, Mike Tyson, I might say ferocious.
Face tats. Face tats. I'm already at
There you
two
go.
words.
Face tat. I might say ear snacker. Or it might be like intense. So it can be anything along those lines. But so, Paul Taylor, are you ready to
Winner.
play?
Oh,
Are you
sorry, I
ready?
thought that was the first one.
Are you ready for the quick shot turbo seat? Here we go.
Sure, I get ready as I'll ever be.
All
You
right.
didn't even tell me this was a thing.
No, I didn't. All right, here we go. Andy Haas.
I told you I was going to be bad at this.
No, take your time, but do it fast.
Can we start over?
Okay. Oh, I also forgot to say, no common nicknames. Like if I were to say Mark Malkovich, I never can say his last name.
And I say
you
Mouth.
don't say mouth. Yeah, yeah. Okay, here we go. We're gonna start this again. All right, Andy Haas.
Pass.
All right.
Insurance.
Oh, there you go.
It's
Ryan
insurance
McCook.
salesman. He's a king. He's
David.
going to own it at Worlds. Sorry, no sentences.
No, you can. You can follow up with a comment after it. Yeah, for sure. All right. Ryan McCook.
He's a king. He's
No,
going to own it
no
at Worlds.
repeats.
I thought we already did it. What's going on here?
Sorry. Yes, you're right. Oh, see, I'm already out of line. Yeah. Okay.
I thought you were doing a retake.
Okay.
Put that in the sloppy seconds.
Bad host. Edit. B-roll. Okay. Third name. David Key.
Baller. Do I have to follow it up?
No. Steve Sabell.
Oh man, I almost used the K word again. He's a magician. I don't know how he does it. And again, to harken back to Florida, 5 tournaments. He ran 5 tournaments that weekend, 183, 186 players. It was insane. Went off without a hitch. He is a magician.
Magician. Perfect. Paul Luna.
Can we do with other names? We have to pick them from the top of the list. All right. One word for Paul Luna.
I'm going to remind you, it can be
Let's do this!
That works.
That was, I don't know if you were there, his come out tournament when he was blackout drunk, but that's the only phrase he said for half a day. Let's do this! Let's do this!
Okay, that's it. That's the word. There's no right or wrong answers here. And this list of names I just randomly pull out. There was no rhyme or reason. Stephen Puff Kramer.
God, my gut reactions are really bad. I'm going to say this, and maybe Steven will find it funny. Vomit.
All right.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's fantastic.
He's an odds maker. He's a bookmaker. He's a brilliant, nice person. Vomit.
Chris Brewer.
Oh man. So Brewer, I can't answer in sentences. Sorry, I'm gonna try to do this in one word.
Come up with a word, and then you can use sentences to describe.
Brewer's new to the game, but he's an old school dude.
I don't think you just listened to me.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said come up with the word, and then you can use sentences after.
Old school is the word.
Old school. Okay.
He's new to the game, but he's an old school character, and I adore him. I like spending time with him.
Yeah, me too. You're not going to see this one coming. Michael Jackson, as in sham on it.
The glove? I don't know.
Oh, well played. All right, 2 more. Mark Gomez.
When did you say this video is coming out? This interview?
A couple days or tomorrow.
Prior to Worlds.
Yeah.
4-6.
4-6. All right. And the last one, David Duncan.
Remember how we started with the Ice Road Trucker? We combined Icebreaker and an Inroad, and we decided it was going to be Ice Road Trucker. Ice Road Trucker.
Fair
I think
enough.
I think he got his CDL and he's driving trucks now.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think that's his gig. So I'm going to do a callback to the beginning of the video if that part makes the cut.
Cool, right on. All right, hey man, you made it through the quick shot turbo seat.
Barely. A lot of editing for that part. Yeah, I'm not a quick thinker.
No, you did awesome. I mean, come on, I just put you on the spot. See, future guests are going to know this is coming. Now, they're not going to know the names that I'm going to give them, but at least they can, practice in front of the mirror, I guess. So how excited are you for Worlds?
I'm really excited. I'm excited to go back to Vegas. I've decided to take on a new table game in the casino I've never played before.
War.
I'm going to play some Baccarat.
No.
Oh, Baccarat's a 50-50 also, so basically War with some different rules.
Are you going to play the tiles or the cards?
Baccarat? Yeah, is there a tile version?
No, sorry.
I guess it's the same game either way.
I misspoke. I was thinking of Pai Gow.
Are you thinking of
Yeah.
Pai Gow? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
are you going to
Baccarat,
play
it's
uh,
exciting.
the the high limit games? You know, where you get to sit at the big table and you get to rip the cards apart and shit. Those games are. I think you have to spend a lot of money.
You're not supposed to rip them. There's a bending
Yeah.
thing that goes on, but you're not
Uh,
supposed to rip the cards. No, I have no interest in doing that. I'd rather it just went fast. Deal the cards. Show me. Let's next hand,
yeah.
next hand, next
Yeah.
hand.
Are you
Oh,
going to keep a little piece of paper and keep track like a human roulette?
from I've never played at the casino, but from what I understand, some tables will keep
Oh,
track for you.
oh,
Like as far
like
as
a
they'll
roulette
show
thingamajigger.
banker player, whatever one they do. Like blue for the player, red for the dealer, and then a green if it's a tie. And they'll do the track of the shoe or something like that.
I remember reading a long time ago, and I know this is not a secret, that roulette back in the day, decades ago, was so popular, and then it started to fade off. Um, yeah,
Roulette.
and then once they started putting the little tracker thing up there, then the game shot back up because I
Uh,
was, of course, people were like, "Oh, there's been 7 blacks, it's going to be red," But
yeah,
um,
yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. You were probably talking about Golden Tee.
I was, but yeah, you're like, I don't care about the worlds about Golden Tee.
It's like I said, I haven't played any of those TPC, PGA, whatever you call them, courses. Very rarely played on a PGA
I
cabinet,
wonder.
so I'm trepidatious about those things. But other than that, it's just let's see how it
I've heard
goes.
that. I think I read without any. I didn't read it as an official post, but someone had mentioned that the PGA courses were going to be also included in match play, like on the spin. I wonder what happened. Like, let's say you and I are playing each other, and we agree that if it lands on one, we just spin again. I wonder if they'll. I mean, what's to prevent us from doing
Well,
that?
if you were playing me, that would never happen because I don't respin for courses.
As a hypothetical, I mean, I don't care either. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but hypothetically, if you're playing me, that's not going to happen. We're going to play
sure,
whatever it lands
sure.
on.
But I just wonder
Uh,
how they're going to enforce that, because I'm sure there are going to be people that are going to go
is that a rule at Worlds that you have to take what
this.
it lands on? I mean, I know that at at Steve Sobel's tournaments, if both players agree not to play something, they don't
Sure.
play it. You can respin. It's up to the players to
And
decide.
Steve is running the
I don't
tournament, but
know.
I don't know. I'm sure IT has their say in, like,
I mean, obviously they're all in on this PGA thing, so I would imagine they want some content to be recorded on those courses. So I can see them uh, kindly asking players to do it or enforcing it by other means. I have no idea. I'm gonna play them. I don't respin. I never have. Not to avoid a hard course or a difficult course.
yeah,
That's a little bit like like choose your own luck, pick your
yeah,
own
yeah.
poison, talking somebody into a bet. No,
It,
I don't. Like I said, where I get superstitious is things like that. It's like I just want to. It happened. Let's
yeah,
do it.
yeah, yeah,
Whatever it is.
yeah. I've never asked that I can remember. Well, certainly not at Power events. Said, oh, do you not want to play this course? Let's play another one. It's just, so whatever it is. If we
I mean, in Florida, I ended up playing Nord against Oz, in the finals, and it was just like he asked me to respin, and I said, I don't do that. Sorry.
what course did he want to play? Do you think? Like, why did he not want to play?
Probably any, probably anything but Nord or Easter, I guess, would probably be the bottom two.
Yeah, just because they're the most straightforward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the easiest. You basically have to hold out to change the outcome of the match.
Um, do you like Eagles? I love that course, by the way. I think it's so fun.
I haven't. I've basically not played any other course since it came out.
It is really fun.
I have always liked the tougher courses, other than Southern and Shady. I don't know. They were tough, but like not enjoyable.
The only thing about Eagles that bugs me is that the putting sometimes, like, I feel like I get turbo putts where I should, and they're not predictable. Like, sometimes,
They're fairly
well, for
predictable.
someone like you, because I think you remember everything in this points of the.
No, you just know which. It's only a small set of holes where
Which
it's going to
hole?
happen.
Correct. Yes, I do know which holes that will never turbo putt, but the ones that do, I feel like that there are some where it will turbo putt sometimes in the next round it won't. In the position
Right.
of the green, I'm not talking about going up up one of the hills, but
Right.
depending on something like on the hole 14, 13, 14, where you go around the trees.
I think 13 would be the par 3, so you're thinking of
Okay,
12. The par 5?
12. No, it's a drivable par 4. The green has 2
So
tiers, and you
14.
bend around.
So 2 tiers
Yeah,
or 3 tiers?
it has 3 tiers. Correct, 3 tiers.
Yeah,
14. Yeah, but you
14.
can hit like a 2-iron and skip it up, or a low 3-wood and skip it up around.
Mhm. Ooh, low 3 wood. I got to write that down. Try that.
uh,
Thank you.
and they the sometimes like when the pin's on the middle tier or the upper tier, and my ball is on the same tier, like I'm not going up the plateau, and sometimes I'll get a turbo putt, like it'll be not too far away, like maybe a 20-foot right 7, and sometimes it just turbos way high.
I don't know if that green, if I would say it turbos, I think the green in general putts fast.
Okay, yeah.
So I always expect it to putt a little bit faster. But yeah, it's definitely like knowing the course. It's not like your complaint is valid, but it's not unpredictable.
Gotcha. Yeah,
that's all
yeah.
I was saying.
Yeah,
that green putts fast.
I do love that course, though. It's a lot of fun.
I like everything about it except for hole 2.
Yeah, it's a little Mickey Mouse.
I have yet to make my peace with hole 2.
It's kind of hard to predict, I guess, because it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't remember that course from back in the day. I must have been when I wasn't really playing, or maybe.
Haas says he remembered it. I talked to him at the last tournament when that was out, and he said hole 2 is better than it used to be. I guess with the high tees and everything like that, I can see it where you're not trying to necessarily kick off the hill or thread the tree trunks.
How do you feel about the PGA cabinets versus Legacy once you start playing the PGA more, or like, do you think it's a better machine or the same equivalent?
What's the difference? It's immersive. I mean, I'll give them that giant monitor. The first couple of things, that was definitely the biggest impact. Like I felt like I was inside the game first couple of times I played, which is cool. Disorienting. I'm used to playing on, what is that? Maybe a 42-inch screen or something like that. Typically,
it's like a postage stamp.
Yeah. So that was impactful. As far as like the deck, like everybody was worried about that touchpad or whatever. I've never hit that. I've never tried to avoid it. I've legit forgot it was there. Like the two or three sessions I've ever had on a PGA machine, I just legit forgot it was there. I was watching Mouth stream his Ultimate Cycle. Did you see any of that?
No, I watch a lot of his streams, but not that one.
That crazy son of a bitch played every course in Golden Tee in one session. He went till 7:30 in the morning.
Oh my god!
And he was finishing his. I swear, I was playing on a friend's home edition, and I swear, like every 3 holes, I'd look up and he's on a new course. I have no idea how he played that fast. But on his stream, scrolling at the bottom where the lock condition codes, and me and the guy, we were trying to figure out how to use those codes.
I don't know how to do that.
It's on the touchpad. Like I said, I literally forgot it was even there. I'm like looking all through these menus. I'm like, oh, it's got to be an option. It's the touchpad. I'm like, what the hell is that? Oh. But yeah, the button situation is okay. Having to hit 2 buttons to do the bird's eye is pretty janky. Not a fan of that. But the button layout is what it is. It's never a problem unless you're going back and forth between platforms.
If I start playing the PGA a lot, and then I go back to Legacy, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Like I forget, it's easy.
That's the only time it's an issue, is going back and forth between platforms, and the buttons are fine other than that thing with the 2 buttons to do the bird's eye.
I like the way that.
Which, I mean, that was a workaround. They didn't have a bird's eye originally, right? And they were like, oh, we'll code
Yeah.
that for you guys. So we've spoiled you.
I like the way the
Is this what you
ball rolls on it, and I know it's the exact same trackball in the same housing. They don't have doesn't sell a PGA trackball and a legacy trackball. It's all the same, but it's something the way it's. It must be the housing that's underneath the deck where it sits to keep it
mean?
from, like, when you hit it off to the side, like with a legacy, and you hit it, and you can hear the trackball like jump off the roller a little bit and kind of click, and it doesn't seem to happen, or at least not nearly as much. Um, I like that aspect of it. I thought it was a whole different trackball assembly when I first played on it,
I've heard a lot of people
but
say
it's
that,
not.
yeah. And I don't know if anybody needs to know this, but I was just on SuzoHap website a couple days ago because that guy I was playing his home edition, he's like, "Oh, but this is a different trackball." I'm like, "I don't know about all that." I went on their website to see if they sold a different trackball, and obviously they didn't. And they're $67
Oh,
right
that's
now.
dirt cheap.
$67 for a brand
Yeah.
new from SuzoHap trackball assembly. So anybody that needed to hear that,
Wow.
maybe get on there
Because those
soon
things
and
were
grab
100,
a few.
110 at one point, I think.
Yeah, they were usually, if you got them from SuzoHap, they were 94 to 110 bucks.
And with shipping,
There
it
was
would come out to $100. Yeah.
I would always get them from like Twisted Quarter on eBay or something like that. You could get them for under 70. I guess he was buying them wholesale or something. I don't even know. But yeah, $67. I was pretty surprised.
No kidding. Now, do you have a home machine?
No.
If you had one, like let's say someone gave you one, would you play it?
Probably.
Okay, let me rephrase that. If there were no contests that you could play on it, if it was just play for fun, but with all the same equipment,
But
with swiping in and everything, would you play on it?
So I'm looking forward potentially to this new Build a Course feature. And I can see absolutely abusing that feature on a home edition if it's going to be available on home edition or however that works out. Obviously, I'm going to make the toughest holes of the year, holes 1 through 9 or whatever they are, and just bang those out over and over and over until I see every setup I can see, or make them the back 9 so I get tougher wins.
That
I don't know,
brilliant.
whatever.
So you don't have to go through the boring holes to reach it each time, like currently do.
There is something missing from the enjoyment, from my level of engagement, if there are no prizes at stake.
Me too, 100%.
My attention will drift pretty quickly. So it's not like I would bang out games on a free play home edition with no contests.
I'm the exact same way. I'm a competitor by nature. It's what drives me. I'm not one of those. I will compete and do whatever it takes to win. I just like the thrill of competition.
Right. For sure.
So I'm the same way. I'd be bored. Now, of course I do play on that, and I do it to practice and whatever. Especially like when I play the most on that is when for a couple weeks before Power Events is coming up, and so just to get my playing a repetition. But like while I'm playing, I'm like mentally picturing myself in a match play at the tournament.
That's what you should do.
And just kind of put myself there.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing you can do. Well, I mean, the best thing you can do is play at a smaller local tournament if that's an option, or gamble with somebody at your level, which is match play like. It's not the same. But yeah, just imagining those situations and making decisions as though you were in that situation.
Yeah.
If you're taking pressure off of yourself by saying, "Hey, I'm up 2 strokes going into 18. Do I lay up?" Or if you're putting pressure on yourself, saying, "All right, I'm playing the middle stretch. I'm down a stroke. What do I do? Is this hole so hard that I can just hope my opponent messes up, or is it so easy that I need to try to hole out?"
It's like one thing that I tell myself I'm going to do, and I haven't done it yet, is to practice layups just for when that situation comes. Like a perfect example, and I saw
You don't necessarily need to practice them. You basically just pick a
Yeah, but
spot.
like for example, hole 18 of Hollywood, and I saw Kramer, Puff. He had two matches where he laid up because he was up two.
Oh, oh, did he have
Yeah,
two?
I believe in the same
Good for
tournament.
him. That must be nice.
Did it happen against you?
I was one of them. Yeah,
But see, I know what would happen to me if I did that. I would go, I've never laid up on this hole, but it's a smart move.
that's what he said.
And I would push it out to the fairway, and all of a sudden I would
That's what
be
he did.
wildly in between clubs, and I'd be like into a
So
crosswind and go, what the
Hollywood,
fuck? I would be in between a wedge and a
Hollywood's not
nine iron.
necessarily the best example because the fairway out away from the trees is like a perfect 5 bird from the green. So if you literally just smack one out in the fairway, you're probably going to be pretty comfortable. So Hollywood's not necessarily the best example for finding a layup. You probably need to be more strategic on a hole like Champ 16.
Oh yeah,
You could definitely lay up bad because you have to judge your approach across a curved
dude, that
fairway.
happened to me in Dallas, playing for the hot seat, um, uh, and I was up one going into 16, and um, I was playing against Cags, and he so I'm up one, and I lay up, and he went for it, went wet, and my layup, I ended up it was tucked into the bottom left, and it was a crazy wind, and I was in between clubs, so like my distance marker put me in the water, but in front of it, and the one behind it, and I hit what I thought was a perfect shot when it came. I mean, I hit it just like I wanted to, and I obviously misjudged it, and it came
Yeah,
short, went in the water. We end up going to extra holes, and he holes out like hole three or something. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
I had a similar experience. I had never laid up on that hole, but I laid up in a match play situation and got wet on my approach. I think I ended up coming out ahead in that match. Uh, they might have got wet, and so there was no stroke change or whatever happened. I didn't pay the full price for my lack of preparation. But yeah, you just as far as like practicing the layups though, you really pick a crappy round, hit it out in the fairway, say, hey, this is the club I would probably like, and then just turn around and whack it to the spot you think that club will
Sure,
play
yeah,
from. When you got those strokes to burn because you are already having just a god awful round, it's no redemption. You can get that information. Same as like when you should be practicing your chush if you need to do that, or other things, other techniques. But like find that spot where you think you're best to lay up. It'll be easy to get to from the tee box. It'll be a comfortable distance from the green. Maybe that comfortable distance is right in the middle of your iron spread. Maybe that's an option. And then you have options even if you miss your layup a little bit. So like depending on the situation, maybe you want to pick something that's say 150 yards is pretty comfortable distance for most
sure,
club
yeah,
sets. 150, things get a little iffy around 160, and then you're probably comfortable again around 200, 210 because everybody's got their 8 or 9 wood and the six
yeah,
wood, so you can get to that 200 to 210 range pretty easily. And then the iron sets are really going to close in around that 150 range. Then you get to your 5 hybrid and higher, and so 160 and 170 are maybe not as lovely, depending. But yeah, try to find something 150 or a little bit more than 200 yards away, or hit your 4 and 5 wood for that 240 to 260. But you only really need to find that spot once, and you just need to mark it mentally
yeah,
and be like, okay, if I'm going to lay up, I'm
yeah.
going to
To
go
that
there.
spot, yeah, 100%.
And there's not really much more preparation you can make. You take that approach shot, you say, oh, that was just as easy as I thought it was, or oh, that sucked. I need to be a little bit further back or a little bit closer. But it's really just that one little tester. You can just do it in your throwaway rounds, and everybody has throwaway rounds except for Luna.
um,
He hasn't shot worse. He hasn't shot worse than two better in 2.5 years now.
now let's say
It's quite a streak. Nobody talks about it.
let's say in Worlds at some point, regardless if it's in the first round or in the finals, if Haas and Luna are playing against each other and you had $100 to bet, who do you bet on? They're both on the winner side. They're both on
Can
the
I go?
winner side.
And I can't go. I can't go play baccarat.
Well, no, you can. I'll tell you who won. You just tell me who to make place the wager on, and then I'll text.
Oh, you
No,
already
no,
know who
no.
won?
I'll text you while you're at the baccarat table.
No, I need that $100
Oh, I
from the
see. I
baccarat
see.
table.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I would probably pick
Really?
Luna. Yeah, just because he bangs out 50 a day. I don't know if he's still doing that. I know he was for several months recently, maxing out his games. This for me, after going to a tournament and having so much fun and being around all these people, all those enthusiasts, going home and playing by myself
Doesn't it?
sucks.
Right.
It's like so hard to get motivated. So like we've had like this huge pause since St. Louis. So maybe Paul's kept together and he's banging out 50, maybe not. But just playing that much regularly gives you an edge.
Yeah. So, would you say that going to power events is one of your favorite things about the game?
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think about this when I'm in I'm generally a very optimistic and happy person, but sometimes I like to think about, oh, how sucky is life going to be if this happens? But I can't even fathom how depressed I would be if Power Events closed up shop. It would
Right.
suck
Yeah.
ass. I mean, I would play
Yeah.
a
That
lot
might
less.
be a deal
Yeah,
breaker.
yeah. Oh God, let's not talk about it.
I mean, it's if you are playing regularly, daily, like making a little bit of coin at it, it does more than just break the monotony. And when the new courses come out, that's the opportunity to go play with everybody else and see all the new different perspectives, you know. And yeah, I mean, it makes the
Yeah,
game.
it really does. It really does. Well, I think I've taken up enough of your time. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to add that we didn't touch on?
Um, no, we didn't talk about your sack bling. I guess you got that done in your self
Yeah,
interview.
well, that's true. Yeah, no, I mean, I am representing, and um, I'll be
Representing the
wearing out in the
cul-de-sac.
cul-de-sac. Yeah, I am the coolest motherfucker of the five houses. Oh,
No, thanks for having me, Chisholm. I appreciate it. Like I said, you hosted the first tournament I ever flew to, so landmark
yeah,
event.
that's what.
Uh, I always have fond thoughts of you. I did want to say I love your approach to the game. Uh, things that you touched on in your self interview, as far as what motivates you to play, what you enjoy. I feel like everybody that plays Golden Tee should have those same motivations. You want to go, you want to be competitive, you want to win, you want to play well, and things like that. Uh, you come from the pool world same as Sobel has, so you both know more about it than I do. But Golden Tee is not known for having any snakes in the grass. You know, everybody's straightforward with their competitiveness and their desire to win. And I like the honest competition you get from
I
Golden
do
Tee.
too.
And
It is so refreshing.
yeah, so yeah, I like the way that you laid that out, and it definitely echoes my own
Thanks, man.
emotions
Thanks, man.
as far as like good, honest competition.
Thanks, man. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for tuning in. And our next guest next week, it is confirmed. We're going old school, and there are a lot of players out there that probably know the name and don't realize how good this guy really is. I mean, everyone knows he's good, but he's a former world champion, and that is Jeff Harlow. Will be our next guest.
Jeff,
So
oh, your lineup rocks.
that was that. That sounded like kind of bragging, but I love it.
I no humble brag. No, it's not even humble. That's awesome.
Cool. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Okay, now it's there you go, buddy.